Kevin and Brian, though they were our sons, grew very close to Lisa. She misled them with lies, causing them to ignore us. After Lisa, Kevin, and Brian were asked to leave our home, my husband Michael suddenly passed away. When I told Kevin about his father's death over the phone, his reaction shocked me. He said, "Your dad passed away. You handled the funeral, Mom. I don't want to see the face of someone who kicked us out. We're having a great time here, so don't bother us. Just tell the relatives we can't come because of work or something." I was speechless. A week after the funeral, I got a letter from Michael addressed to me. He wrote, "Please read this without our sons knowing." As I read, I was filled with emotion. Lisa had caused so much trouble in our family, and Kevin and Brian didn't even come to their father's funeral. I couldn't let it end this way. My name is Olivia. I'm 56 years old, a housewife, and I also work full-time. I met Michael at a party for new employees at our related companies. I'm not much of a drinker, but I couldn't turn down the drinks I was offered and ended up feeling very sick. I was sitting in a corner looking for a chance to leave when Michael noticed me. He started talking to me and even arranged a taxi for me later. I took a day off to thank him, and at his office, he was surprised to see me but pleased. We became friends, started dating, and eventually got married. We both longed for a warm family life. Michael had a tough upbringing, and I lost my parents when I was young. We believed we could be happy together, but living with each other brought unexpected challenges, mostly because of Michael's sister, Lisa. Before the wedding, I tried to meet her, but she was too busy. Our first meeting was at the wedding. Michael's parents had passed away, so it was a simple ceremony with just friends and relatives. Lisa drew attention in many ways. She wore a pure white dress that was quite revealing, heavy makeup like a stage actress, and lots of perfume. I tried not to show how upset I was, but Lisa either noticed or just didn't like me from the start. She didn't say hello and made fun of me. She said to Michael, "Couldn't you find someone better at your workplace?" Having such a plain sister-in-law is embarrassing. But maybe she suits you, Mr. Super Serious. Michael looked like he wanted to argue, but a fight on our wedding day seemed like a bad sign. I said, "I'm fine, let's go get ready." I forced a smile and led Michael away. That was our awful first impression, but I didn't worry too much, thinking we would only see Lisa at family gatherings now and then. However, things changed dramatically. Soon after a short marriage, Lisa moved in with us because of her husband's cheating. She said, "My ex left, and I want to move out too." Our parents sold their place when I got married, so I can't go back to my parents' house. Can I stay at Michael's place for a while? Michael was clearly annoyed and said, "Why don't you rent an apartment? You got plenty of alimony, right? Just let me stay until I find a nice place." I want to take my time, not settle for a rundown house. But in the end, Lisa just showed up with her stuff and moved in without asking. The main issue was Lisa didn't seem to realize we were taking care of her. She acted like it was her own house, which was very stressful for Michael and me. Lisa would go out every night, sleep until the afternoon, and then spend the day lounging on the living room sofa, playing with her phone or just watching TV. This was her routine until she went out again after dinner. Sometimes I took a day off and stayed home, so I saw this was what she did every day. When I came home tired in the evening after working all day, Lisa would ask in a complaining tone, "Hey, is dinner ready yet?" "How long until it's done?" I would say, "In about 15 minutes." She would reply, "That long? Hurry up, will you?" She also made rude comments about my cleaning, saying things like, "You're not very good at this," or "You're cutting corners." I share the cleaning duties with Michael. He's tired too. Lisa told me. As a wife, you should be doing all the household chores. I didn't want to complain to Michael about Lisa because I didn't want to ruin their relationship as siblings. But he noticed that I was becoming unhappy. When Michael asked me about it and I told him about Lisa's behavior, he got really angry. He told Lisa, "Don't overstep your boundaries. You're just a guest here." But Lisa just shrugged and said, "I'm just stating the obvious," and refused to help pay for household expenses. She said, "I'm still in shock from my husband's cheating. How can I work in this state? And you want to charge me? I can afford to pay for clothes and go out drinking." Lisa's attitude made both Michael and me very upset. My dream of a happy married life was turning into a nightmare because of her. Michael and I wanted to have kids soon, but it seemed like the stress over Lisa was getting in the way. We were even thinking about getting medical checks when I found out I was pregnant. In our 6 years of marriage, we were so happy and cried tears of joy. Michael saw this as a chance to suggest Lisa move out. He told her, "We're going to need more space when the baby comes. Maybe it's time you move to your own place." Then Lisa asked me, "What do you plan to do about work?" I said, "I plan to return to work after a year of parental leave." She offered, "Well, I can look after the baby. But we plan to use daycare." I checked around and found out that all the daycares, even the unlicensed ones, had long waiting lists. A few months later, as my belly began to show, Lisa said confidently, "I'll take care of the baby until you get a daycare spot. I owe you, and I'll do it for free. It'll be tough on your finances if you quit your job." After discussing it, Michael and I reluctantly agreed to let Lisa help. I was very worried, but to my surprise, Lisa took excellent care of our newborn Kevin. She learned about childcare online, prepared his meals, and even took him to parks and community centers. She was so dedicated to Kevin, and it showed in how much he adored her. Even when our second son, Brian, was born 3 years later, Lisa's care didn't change. With Michael and me busy at work, we were thankful for her help with the kids. But as the boys grew older, they started to avoid us more. When we suggested going to the amusement park or having a barbecue for Brian's birthday, they would say, "Lisa already took us to a fancy place," or "We're going with Lisa to a high-end sushi restaurant." It was hard for Michael and me to see how excited they were about spending time with Lisa. Even after Kevin and Brian started elementary school, they preferred being with Lisa. Even on weekends, they barely talked to us and acted like we weren't important, spending all their time playing games or going out with her. Things got even worse as Kevin got older. He openly showed he didn't like us, ignored us, and even made rude noises when we tried to talk to him. Once, when I told him not to eat while playing on his phone, he snapped at me, "Shut up, old lady." I was shocked to hear him say it. Would have been great if Lisa was our mom. She gives us money and takes us places. The boys even said being born to us was a mistake, and that they heard from Lisa we didn't really want kids. That hurt a lot. I calmly explained that Lisa, while not working and just living off her alimony, wasn't contributing financially. Kevin dreamily said, "Lisa's lifestyle is something to aspire to," and added, "But she raised us right. Complaining about her seems weird." They even questioned if we wanted kids at all, believing Lisa's claim that we had them just out of obligation, which was not true. Michael and I always wanted kids, and Lisa had only offered to help until we found daycare. I was very upset and couldn't believe what Kevin was saying to me. He smirked when he saw how upset I was and said, "You guys are always so annoying, telling us to do homework and that we play too many games." Lisa says it's fine not to do homework and even stays up playing games with us until morning. I snapped back, "Lisa isn't responsible for your future." Your dad and I tell you these things because we care about you, even if it means you might hate us. Yeah, right. You're just jealous because we're close to Lisa. How dumb. Maybe you shouldn't have let her take care of us. I felt like crying. When I looked up, I saw Michael at the doorway, his fist shaking. He asked, "Who do you think you're talking to?" "Oh, hey, Dad. Working late again today." Must be tough with such a small salary. The boys laughed mockingly, leaving Michael speechless. "Finally, you talked to us and it. Just to mock your parents," Michael shouted. "Stop being so loud," Lisa called out as she came downstairs to the kitchen, looking annoyed. "Getting worked up over what kids say is so immature." "It's because you spoil them that they're like this," Michael yelled. "I've had enough. Get out now." "What, I've been nice to my nephews, and this is the thanks I get." "If you're going to stay, then pay your way," Michael said. Lisa puffed up her cheeks and finally agreed. "Fine, I'll leave." "Happy now?" "Lisa, you're really leaving?" I asked. "No way," Lisa replied defiantly. But Lisa quickly went to her room, packed her things in a suitcase, and came down to the entrance. "I've put my clothes in boxes. I've arranged for movers this weekend." "Leave it until then, okay, Lisa." "Are you really going?" "Yes, take care." She smiled at Kevin and Brian as they saw her off to the gate. Then she left, but it was too late to fix the relationship between us and our sons. As teenagers, Kevin and Brian became more rebellious. Kevin quit his job within a month after finishing high school, and 1 year later, Brian quit his job after just a few days. They talked about starting a business together and made some questionable deals, spending their money from odd jobs in one night. After a big argument, Michael kicked them out of the house. "When you get a job, come back." "No way will it ever come back to this place." And so Lisa, who had caused so much trouble in our family, and the son she influenced, Kevin and Brian, left. It was back to just my husband and me. I was worried about how Kevin and Brian were doing, but without the four of them causing chaos, I felt relieved. At the end of the year, just as I was about to leave work and head home, I got a call from Michael's colleague. "Are you Olivia?" Michael collapsed at work. He's currently in the ICU at the city hospital. I said I would be there right away. I tried to stay calm and drove to the hospital. At the ICU, I waited in the hallway until the doors opened and a doctor in a white coat came out. He looked sad as he told me, "We did our best, but I'm sorry." I was too shocked to speak. That morning, Michael had left for work as usual. We had talked about keeping our schedule open for our anniversary next month. Sure, the usual restaurant. I have a surprise planned for this year. I never thought that would be our last conversation. Everything felt gray and meaningless as I stood there. I decided to contact Kevin, Brian, and Lisa to tell them Michael had passed away. I left a voicemail and sent a message. That night, Kevin called back. I could hear music and laughter in the background. As I tried to tell him about his father, my voice shook. Kevin laughed and said, "The funeral and stuff, I'll leave it to you, Mom. I don't want to see the face of someone who kicked us out. We're having fun here, so don't bother us." I could hear Lisa chuckling in the background. "Just tell the relatives we're absent because of work. Say hi to them for us." I stood in shock for a while, holding the phone. Were these really Michael's sons and sisters? Feeling empty, I knew I had to go ahead with the funeral arrangements. I got in touch with Michael's family and the funeral home we usually use to arrange a family funeral. Saying goodbye so suddenly didn't feel real, and I didn't cry during the funeral. But as everyday life continued, the pain of losing Michael kept hitting me. While making dinner, setting up to record a TV show we watched together, or making coffee, I'd accidentally make enough for 3 or start talking to him before realizing he was no longer there. That's when I couldn't hold back the tears. A week after Michael passed away, I was watering the flowers when the mailman arrived. I took the mail inside, and among the junk mail, I found an envelope addressed to me. The handwriting was unmistakably Michael's. Overwhelmed with emotion, I opened it. The letter explained that he had asked a friend to send this if something happened to him. After expressing his thanks for our years together, one line stood out, asking me to keep this from our sons. Moved by the letter and realizing how much Michael knew, I worried about the kids. I wiped away my tears and decided to take action. Lisa had hurt our family, and Kevin and Brian hadn't even come to their father's funeral. I was determined not to let it end this way. Michael's letter mentioned a package in a safety deposit box at a bank near the station, and he included a key. I went to the bank, entered the safety deposit box area next to the ATMs, and nervously followed the instructions. I inserted the card, entered the PIN, and a part of the table opened to reveal the safety deposit box Michael had rented. I used the key, found everything Michael mentioned, and took them with me. Later, I invited Lisa, Kevin, and Brian to my house. I decided to share Michael's inheritance with everyone important to him. With the promise of inheritance, Lisa, Kevin, and Brian came quickly. They had skipped the funeral, but were eager for the inheritance, which showed their shamelessness. Lisa couldn't even wait while I was making tea. She blurted out, stingy Michael had an inheritance. Maybe he hid money because he was so stingy. Being stingy might not be so bad after all. I wonder if he put his inheritance in some account. I'm excited. Then she looked at me and smiled. You did the right thing telling your sister-in-law, Mom. Stop beating around the bush. Is Dad's inheritance in jewels? Maybe gold bars. As they all fidgeted, I smiled and said, before that, please listen to this. I put an IC recorder and Michael's cell phone on the dining table, which confused them. Is that Dad's cell phone? And what's this, an IC recorder? The kind used for investigating affairs? I see it on TV. Wait, did Dad have an affair? Kevin laughed mockingly, but his smile vanished when I pressed play. Kevin's voice came through, talking on the phone. Yeah, remember that old lady you met at our house, Lisa? She wears so much makeup and clings to me, calling me Kevin dear. It's gross, but she'll hand over money if you flatter her. There's a use for fools and old ladies. As Kevin froze, Lisa's face filled with anger when the recording stopped. Lisa angrily asked, "What was that, Kevin?" He replied, "I don't know, a stranger maybe, or Dad recorded that voice." Over Lisa's shouted protest, Kevin continued, Michael was too tech illiterate to do something like that. As Lisa and Kevin argued, Brian tried to leave quietly. I quickly played the second recording. How much money did you get from Lisa? $333,000. Damn, I only got $3,000. What did you do? Gave her a bouquet of roses and a high-end bag for her birthday. Maybe I'll give her a fake brand next time. She can't tell the difference. Kevin and Brian laughed, revealing their true colors. She loves getting gifts from men. Even though she's almost 50, she still acts young, falling for every compliment from men she meets at the bar and spending a lot of money on them. She's an easy target, really foolish. The brothers didn't hold back in their ridicule, even mocking her blonde hair and her unrealistic dream of marrying a young Korean pop star, which they found creepy. Amidst Kevin and Brian's laughter, after the recording suddenly stopped, Brian, with a forced smile, defensively muttered, "Man, when did Dad record this and show it to Mom after he's gone? That's just mean." Pretending to be a good guy, but those are the ones you can't trust. Even now, they continued to insult Michael, which made me very angry. Before I could speak, Lisa yelled at them, "You dare mock people. Who do you think raised you since you were kids? Don't mess with me. See, that's what's so annoying about you, always acting like we owe you." They replied, and Kevin and Brian's laughter made Lisa's ears turn red with anger. "Now it's your turn, Lisa, having a favorite bar to go to. That's quite nice, isn't it?" As I reached for the IC recorder, Lisa's face tensed up. Without hesitation, I pressed play. First, lively music and clinking glasses, then Lisa's high-pitched voice came through. That's right. I've had my nephews wrapped around my finger since they were little. I filled their heads with all sorts of nonsense about their parents. Kids are easy to manipulate. Oh, Lisa, you're so clever, praised the man proudly. Lisa responded, "I'm single. I need them to take care of me in my old age." "Look at my nephew, handsome, right? They look like models or pop stars," the man replied, growing more talkative. "I dream of my nephews feeding me, taking me on amusement park dates, even changing my diapers in the future." "Oh wow, going into a facility? No way. If I'm going to be looked after, it's by handsome men only." "Can't wait." I stopped the playback and looked at Lisa, with Kevin and Brian's intense gaze upon her. She turned away. So both my brother and his wife had nasty hobbies, recording things secretly. I vented. Around so much, I heard from relatives and got curious. After all, the alimony from your ex-husband should have run out after 24 years, yet you remain unemployed. So I hired a private investigator to look into your background. I explained what had been recorded. "Lisa, you really are quite a character." "No, not funny at all. Creepy, really." "What do you think of us?" As the brothers cringed and hugged themselves, Lisa's eyes narrowed in anger. "Shut up. I doled on you, spent my time and money. What's wrong with expecting something in return?" "Oh, you mean this?" I said as I spread a bankbook on the table, making Kevin and Brian's eyes light up. "Oh, is this finally the inheritance?" "Well, sort of," I said suggestively, glancing at Lisa, who looked nervous and sweaty, her eyes shifting around as if looking for a way to escape. I turned to Kevin and Brian. "Remember what I told you before? Michael cut ties with his father before we got married. Remember?" Kevin nodded. "Our grandfather, Dad's father, didn't work seriously. He relied on the family fortune and racked up a huge debt," I continued. "That's right," I added. "Michael's mother worked herself to death paying off those debts, right, Lisa?" Lisa nodded. "So the inheritance Michael received from wealthy relatives, he kept it a secret and deposited it in an account for you. We never heard about this. If there was money, why didn't he tell us?" they asked. "He planned to proceed with the inheritance once you started working seriously. But before that, someone used it without permission," I explained. Kevin and Brian turned to look at Lisa. "No way," they said. "Yes," I continued. "Lisa had been taking Michael's bankbook and seal without permission during his lifetime and withdrawing money." Kevin and Brian looked at the bankbook, which now showed $300,000 down to $20. "Hey, what did you spend it on?" they demanded. Well, this guy convinced me there was a great investment opportunity. I thought I could double it and pay it back. "I just borrowed it, that's all," Lisa tried to explain as she squirmed under their gaze. Kevin and Brian exploded in anger. "Don't joke. That was supposed to be our money. Just $300,000 and you're making a fuss. Considering the effort I put into raising you, you should be giving it to me for free." Lisa shot back defiantly. This made Kevin and Brian even angrier, their veins popping on their foreheads, looking ready to confront her. But that wasn't all about Lisa. I sighed and spread Kevin and Brian's bank books on the table. You both started working right after high school, so the college funds were left untouched. I was going to give it to you once you started working seriously, but this too was meddled with, seeing only a few pennies left in their accounts. Kevin tore at his hair in frustration, and Brian almost cried. "Damn it, woman, what you're doing is criminal." "Yeah, we'll sue you," they threatened. "Don't be silly, it's called family theft and doesn't count as a crime when done by a relative," Lisa replied, crossing her arms and legs and laughing annoyingly. "I'll pay it back someday, maybe in the next life." "You could be charged for it," I said. At my words, Lisa's eyes widened in shock. Huh. Indeed, relatives living together can't be charged for crimes, which is why Michael kicked you out, I continued. "Planning to report you?" Dumbfounded, Lisa asked in disbelief. "You betrayed your husband's sister." "Well, yes, that's what happened," I confirmed. "Really? Unbelievable." "After all I've done for you, how ungrateful," Lisa complained. "Who's ungrateful here?" I yelled back, silencing the room. I glared straight at Lisa, unleashing my fury. "Because of you, our family is a mess. It's beyond repair." "What are you going to do about it?" "Overreacting much." Lisa shrugged. "I should have never trusted you and kicked you out sooner," I said. Then Lisa turned to Kevin and Brian, spreading a sinister smile across her face. "I wanted to be a mom, huh? Since I couldn't become one, I thought I'd take your mom away from you too." Kevin and Brian looked terrified. "Are you okay in the head? Just stay away from me for good," Kevin said. "That's a problem." "I came today to borrow money from you," Lisa smirked. "We're family," she said, "so we should help each other in times of need, right?" "Yeah, right, Mom." Suddenly Kevin and Brian, who had been furious moments ago, put on a smile. "Actually, we're broke too." Got fired for talking back at work, for taking a little unscheduled break, they said arrogantly. Brian and Kevin complained bitterly. I felt a headache coming on. "Getting fired is what you deserve, huh?" "Yeah, we got kicked out of our apartment," Kevin casually revealed. "Didn't pay the rent, so we'll stay here for a while." "That's okay, right? And cover our debts once we're debt-free. We'll start working seriously." "Can't you lend us about $60,000? "You're working, after all." Faced with their brazen request, I was stunned. I felt a surge of anger. Don't mess around. I have nothing to lend to sons who skipped their father's funeral. I refused strongly. But they kept asking, "Please, Mom, if you keep this up, I'll report you to the police too. Don't ever set foot in this house again." Just then, a police car siren stopped in front of the house. Lisa, trying to escape in a panic, ran into the police officers at the front door and was quietly taken away. "Damn, are we going to get arrested too?" "Let's just get out of here for now," Kevin and Brian said. They glanced at me, standing firm, gave up on asking for money, and left. Kevin and Brian, realizing that the money Lisa had given them came from Michael and their own savings, seemed to have finally lost all affection for Lisa. "I don't want to end up like them," they said, seemingly deciding to work seriously. However, their laziness didn't disappear overnight. They kept calling me. "Mom, I'm being pressed for payments at the bar. Can you lend me some money?" "I blew it all on horse racing. Can you lend me about $200,000? I got so annoyed that I blocked their contact information. Later, they tried to ask other relatives for money, but were shunned and denounced as heartless for not attending their father's funeral, leading to estrangement. Eventually, pursued by debt collectors for borrowing from shady sources, Kevin and Brian woke up and started working seriously. However, they had racked up so much debt that they were banned from the nightclub and bars where they were regulars. Now shunned even at their favorite drinking spots, they complained, "We've lost all the fun in our lives." Lisa, being a first offender, paid a fine and was released quickly. However, the incident led to her being dumped by her boyfriend. Moreover, after repaying the embezzled money from Michael's, Kevin's, and Brian's accounts, she ended up with a huge debt. Lisa now works from early morning till late at night, looking exhausted. What I kept secret from Lisa and my sons was that Michael had left another item in the safe, a large pink diamond necklace, a prestigious heirloom passed down from his mother. As mentioned in his letter, it was intended as a gift for our 34th wedding anniversary next year. Fearing it might be found and sold by Lisa or my sons, Michael had kept it in the safe. When appraised, it was valued at $360,000. To my astonishment, I wouldn't sell it. It's a treasured gift from Michael. Although I hoped for a warm family, things didn't go as planned with my sons, and I lost my husband too. But Michael's memory is still alive in my heart. Moving forward, I want to live strong and cherish the memories of Michael.